Hey, Gilroy Hollister here. I kind of feel like Waylon Jennings on the credits of Dukes of Hazzard, where he says, "You always see my hands, not my face on TV." I guess now you know why. What I'm going to do here is give you a few tips, especially for beginners, to inspire you maybe a little bit to stay with it. There's some tricks that will make you a much better player, and I can show you some of those, and these are all real easy things to do. They don't take a whole lot of practice or anything. So we'll get started here, and I'll show you what I know at least. Maybe it'll help you out. My first tip is a way to keep picks on your fingers and keep your hands solidly on the bar so it doesn't slip. I use, the one I use is Tex-Tite. It's a bowstring wax. It's for a compound bow, drawing back, shooting a bow. Put that on the string of a bow. It's like a little pop-up, just a tube of wax. You put it on index, thumb, and middle finger, both hands, and rub it on there, and then your picks stay on, and you hold on to the bar a lot better. My next tip has to do with use of the volume pedal, and a way to get you to be better with that. A lot of guys when they're first learning, everything is kind of like it's all that stuff because they're up and down the volume pedal. The best way to cure that is just unplug the volume pedal altogether, take it out, plug directly into the amp, leave the volume pedal on, and start playing with it's there, but I'm operating it, nothing's happening, and then just play without use of it. You'll still be messing with it maybe, and you'll find you don't need to. Anyway, it's mostly on slow stuff where guys overuse it, so just disconnect the thing. And besides, if you're ever out and the volume pedal fails, you're going to be in a sort of a mode of panic if you haven't played without a volume pedal before. It's really no big deal. Third tip I would like to tell you about is tuning your steel guitar. I find the easiest way is with a Pedersen strobe tuner. It has a sweetener E9 called the SE9 setting that allows you to do the temper tuning needed for a steel guitar. Some notes are tuned flat in order to make it sound right, kind of like a piano is temper tuned. And this is the box it comes in. The tuner looks like this. And when you play for an E, for instance, it'll tell you it's an E. And you look for these bars to just stand still. If they're going forward, let's say clockwise, you're sharp, counterclockwise, you're flat. Tune every string like that, and you'll be pretty much in tune. It also lets you tune in a live environment where you don't want to be clanging and banging on this thing while people are playing and singing. You just plug your guitar in here, you can get in tune. It has headphones if you want to put a little headphone in and kind of hear that. But you can tune up a lot quicker, let's say after you break a string with this, than just dinging around on it and bothering everybody. It's just a little better way to do it. Okay, my next tip has to do with improving your playing by closing your eyes while you play. If you're having trouble with something, by closing your eyes and playing it, and then when you open them up and play it, it's going to seem a lot easier, kind of like swinging two bats before you go up to the plate. So let's say you're going to do apartment number 9, an intro thing. It's kind of, I'll try it here. What I do is open my eyes at the beginning, then close them, so I know I'm starting at the right place, and when I end, I open them to see how far off I am on the fretboard. So we'll do something like... that wasn't too bad. But yeah, just try it on anything. You can try it on fast stuff and get all confused and lost, but you'll find the more you do that, the more familiar you get with the feel of the fretboard, and it'll definitely improve your playing. The next thing I would like to suggest are items that you keep handy besides the tuner. Always keep this little key to tune the pedals. I keep an 11 and a 17, like on the floor next to the guitar or near the amp, somewhere you can get to them quick. These are the two strings you break the most. It's the third string and the fifth string. You might use a different gauge, so obviously you'd change that for that. Keep those two handy, and a string winder and a flashlight. What I'll do next is show you how I like to change a broken string in the shortest amount of time. The next thing I have to show you has to do with changing a broken string. Not necessarily at home or whatever, but when you're out on stage and you're trying to do it quick, here's probably the quickest way I'll show you that I found to change a broken string. So I'm going to change the fifth string. That's the toughest one because up here at the where the key is, it's real tough to get that string in there. So we'll do the toughest one. I'm going to cut it at the bridge because that's where they usually break. So I'm going to loosen it just a little so it doesn't smack so bad. All right. So first thing you want to make sure is you get this little end out of there. That can get down inside there sometimes and be kind of tough to get out. If it is, that's when I use my flashlight. And what I usually do is I'll use the end of this string when I take it off. We'll start buzzing this off real quick here. And keep pressure on this so when you finally get it far enough, the string just pops right out of there. And leave that face kind of pointing down a little bit because you're going to need that. Just throw the string on the ground because you don't care. Grab your 17. If there is a little piece of that, I usually try to use the end of this string, the new string, and kind of push that out of there and dig it out. What we're going to do is put this end in first. Get that started through there. Push it on through a little bit and then turn that baby up. Get to it. I went the wrong way, of course. All right. And pull this thing through there. It's always that fifth one is always the hardest because it's so hard to get. They didn't give enough room on this show bud to get your string in there very well. Okay, then I always put that end in first, then go down to this end. Get that in that little keyway in there, and then just start cranking. Get that out of the way. Okay. Make sure everything looks good. Kind of can feel by the tightness of it. Okay, we're in tune. So that's how long it took to change a string with kind of explaining it and having a little trouble at the end, which that stuff happens, or maybe having to mess with this end a little bit. So that's how I would change a string. I wouldn't fool with it anymore after that. When you're done, later on in the middle of another set or something, you can cut that end off of there and get rid of that. Also, after you tune, it's going to go flat on you quite a bit every time you hit the pedal. So you might want to sharpen it, leave it just a little sharp, it'll flat, and it's going to mess with you for about one song and then you'll be fine. My next suggestion is for improving your playing is to record yourself and then listen back to it. So let's say you're having trouble with a certain part of a song or something. Like one I've always had trouble with, and I'll put it up here, is Papa Top, that little weird timing at the beginning of it. So I'll just play it and you'll probably hear that I'm not doing it exactly right, but it lets you improve yourself. So
Papa Top again. I've just got time for one more. Set 'em up, my friend. And I'll be gone, and you can let some of the fools sit down. I'd like for you to listen.
And then play that back.
Papa Top again. I've just got time for one more round.
And here, if there's something there you don't like, you can See, that was probably not quite right.
You can let some of the fools sit down.
So I didn't like all of that, but you can hear it, listen to yourself play back, and then keep doing that until you finally get something that sounds a lot like the record or what the sound you're trying to get. I think recording yourself is probably the best thing you can do to improve your playing once you get all these other things kind of ironed out. Another piece of advice is to always play within your means. So rather than playing something more like exactly like the record and really fast and maybe being really sloppy, just play it to suit your ability. Like if you were playing that first lead on the Highway 40 Blues, maybe something like this would suit you better.
I ramble all around like a rolling stone cap.
Something just simpler and work your way up to faster and faster. And it's always better if you play clean than fast and sloppy. Another tip I have is for the use of effects, basically reverb and digital delay, those two. And I would, on digital delay, I would have like 3 to 4 repeats, kind of like this. If you can hear that. And then on reverb, this is dry right here. And this is all the reverb I use. And this is digital delay and reverb both. So you can start wherever you like, but usually that's a good starting point. The last thing I would recommend is to copy the players that you like and then slowly develop a style of your own. If you just start playing and tinkering around, you're going to develop some bad habits, I think, and you'll never progress like you should. So people like Paul Franklin and Buddy Emmons, obviously, I mean, they're kind of beyond, a lot of the stuff they do is beyond most of us, but you can pick their simpler stuff, at least try to play some of the things they do. Listen to videos like the things on my side, or there's a lot of guys out there giving advice and lessons on steel guitar playing. And play it, and then record yourself doing that until you kind of start sounding like the record, and you'll improve a lot. And don't get discouraged. You know, a lot of guys don't think they're successful unless they're playing on the road with a Nashville act, and I actually did that for a while, and it's not all it's cracked up to be. The travel's really tedious, and you play the same songs over and over, and you play when you're sick, you play when you're tired, and you know, being with the same people every day, all the time, it looks good from a distance, but you know, some of the best playing is when you're with your buddies in a little bar or a VFW, or just, you know, just playing around in the garage with some buddies. It really is. It's a lot more fun when you're doing it like that. So the fact you're not playing out or you're not playing for Tim McGraw or something, who cares? You know what I mean? You're doing it for yourself at this point, more than likely, because this is geared towards beginners. So just have fun with it.